And welcome back to Music Free Static. I hope you're having a fabulous day. And I hate spring. I can't stand it. I mean, okay, I like the weather is warming up. Okay, I do. All right, winters here are cold typically. All right, I live in Colorado. I live in the mountains. When winter comes, it comes in cold and then stays cold. It's not unusual for us to have temperatures down to minus 20 Fahrenheit on occasion in the winter, and that sucks. So it's when spring comes in, it's great. All right, at least for the warmth. But dude, I have not been able to stop blowing my nose for the last 2 weeks. I mean, hey, just a couple of days ago, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, my eyes itchy and burning, and my nose all clogged. And I didn't get to sleep before I had to go back to work. I had to be at work at 7. So, yeah, no, it sucks. And here we get wind, and it's horrible. All right. That said, again, I do like that it's warming up. I don't have to wear 2 coats and hat and gloves and all of this stuff to be warm on my way to work. Okay. I like that. All right. And I do like the fact that, hey, the trees are starting to blossom. My apple tree has blossoms this year, which it hasn't the last couple of years, which means, hey, we might get apples on the tree this year, which is all sorts of great. We'll usually make apple cider and stuff out of it, and it is. I'm like, we'll can up apple juice, which is okay. Now, my tree, I think they're heritage apples, so they're actually kind of sour. So you have to add sugar or other sweeteners to it to make it reasonable. At least for me, my wife loves it. I need it a little sweeter. Not that I can drink much of it, but still. Stupid fructose allergies. Yeah, close enough. Anyway, it's not what it is. Anyway. So my wife loves the stuff, and I like it too. We'll especially pull it out in winter, okay? Because again, stupid freaking cold, and we'll warm up some apple juice. We'll throw in some spices, cinnamon and nutmeg and all that stuff, and just it's amazing. Okay, I like to squirt in a little caramel syrup. Yeah, man, that is all sorts of amazing. Right. And honestly, that's one of the things I like about winter is as much as I hate the cold these days, and I used to be okay with it, right? Winter was fine. I mean, it was cold, but where I live, we get the cold. We don't often get a lot of snow. Okay. So that's fine because, we're not shoveling it. When we did get snow, we would get a lot of it. Okay. We rarely got we'd either get like half an inch or less, or we'd get buried. All right, well, that's fine. But the cold sucks, but I used to be okay with it. This last year, we had our first day below freezing, and I was done. Yep, I was not having it anymore. Yep. I was ready for the spring, despite the fact that we get all that, the wind and the allergies that come with it, But, but that said, it's fine. I mean, some of my favorite things happen in winter, right? Christmas is amazing, right? So I like Christmas. Christmas is good, right? And honestly, I love the sound of falling snow, okay? I don't like the cold as much these days, but I love being out and listening to the snowfall because everything is muffled and it's really chill. Okay, that's the wrong word because it's actually just really cold, but it's still and peaceful and all that stuff, and I love it. I love that. I'm freezing. There are aspects of seasons that it's just yeah, no, I'm not into this. Okay. But summer, summer is fabulous. Okay. Especially here. The wind stops blowing. And this is the thing. When spring comes in, we get 30, 40 mile an hour winds on a regular basis. It's just nasty. When summer hits, the wind stops. And yes, it gets hot, but not like ridiculously hot. We'll get into the mid 80s. I think last summer we were in the mid 80s Fahrenheit for most of the summer, which is warm. It's, I don't like being out in that for too long, but on the other hand, it's not 90s. It's not 110 like you'd get out in Phoenix or something. Summer is beautiful, okay? And I wish I could say everything was green, but I live in a desert, so yes, there are trees, and trees are beautiful, but everything is just sort of brown. But there's some great parts of summer, and it's nice just to be able to walk to work and not need a coat. Again, I live in a desert, so rain isn't a thing very often. So, it's not until, well, I guess we have a little bit of a monsoon season that does happen in the summer, technically. It's like late June, early July, something like that. And sometimes we'll get rain, and we'll get a lot of rain. Or at least we'll get rain every afternoon, okay? I was in Hawaii once when I was a kid, and that's basically what it was like. It's every day, about 3 o'clock, it rained. And it rained for about an hour, and then we were done. That's sort of what we get here when it comes to weather. And of course, my birthday's in the summer. So of course that makes summer amazing, right? Because I'm getting older. Okay, yeah, maybe not. But what I really love is fall. Okay. Fall is special. One, we still get typically warmish weather, okay? Yes, the temperature does start to fall, but it's still comfortable. Now, at least during the day. Now, I said, I live in the mountains and I live in a desert, and that means that we have 30 and 40 degree temperature swings from overnight to our high during the day, just throughout the year, okay? Which again, in winter, sucks, because when it's 40 degrees during the day, yay, it's above freezing. It means it was 0 overnight, okay? Which is less fun than it sounds. Well, in the fall, we get the same thing. And this is the thing I like about summer here, too. Actually, even if it's 80 degrees, typically it's still 45 or 50. And it's still cool enough you can open up the windows and pull some cold air in and cool everything off at night. But fall, things tend to cool off. And there is the smell, right? Some seasons, actually most seasons have a smell, right? Winter, assuming you can smell anything through the frost, typically it just smells cold, okay? Yeah, spring, you've got all the fresh blooming flowers and trees and all of that stuff. So there are some trees on my walk to work that just explode in pinks, and they I was gonna say they reek of flowers. That sounds a little more negative, but yeah, you can smell the flowers, and it's great. Assuming I could actually, breathe through all of my allergies, right? Yeah, and then of course summer is hot, and you get the smell of grass and all of this fun stuff as all that. But fall has a special smell here. The smell of fall is roasting chilies. And man, I love this part of fall. Okay. Honestly, it's one of those things I don't think about it often until it hits. Okay. Because we get into fall, and as I said, it's farmers markets, and all of we get farmers that start bringing up the Pueblo chilies and the Hatch chilies and all this stuff, and everywhere smells like fresh roasting chilies, right? I'm at the local grocery store, Walmart, I think even will have somebody out roasting chilies if you ask for it. Yeah, it is. It's great. Just the air smells spicy, so spicy, and it's amazing. But as I got thinking about all of these different seasons and what I liked about it, I realized there is something to enjoy about any time of year. And honestly, I think that's something that we miss often is we'll go through and it's like, yes, it's great. The seasons are changing or it's so freaking hot or whatever. But we never stop to appreciate what's great about the time we're in right then. Okay. As much as I hate spring, and I do not like spring. Okay. I am tired. I don't like the being involved in the love lives of trees, right? I'm just not a fan. Okay. Now, if I could breathe better, it would help. All right. I'm sorry. I'm healthy enough that my immune system decides to attack my pollen. Okay. It's just stupid. There are some amazing parts of spring, right? Said it starts to warm up. You get flowers blooming and all of there are a handful of trees around here that just burst into pinks and purples that are just amazing. I don't even know what types of trees they are. They're just they blossom and they are pink. Okay. Heck, my apple tree. You know, when it blossoms, it's all white blossoms and it looks great, right? We have a song that they sing it's in the children's songbook at church, but it's I looked out the window and what did I see? Popcorn popping on the apricot tree, right? It's the idea is all the blossoms just look like popcorn or just color, right? Yes, fall you get the same thing. Right, the trees now they're going dormant, and so all the chlorophyll goes away, and now you get to see the reds and oranges and yellows and all that good stuff of a hibernating tree. Right, and I said it's beautiful. See that you drive through some of the mountain passes here in Colorado, and you see the aspens turn, and oh, it is fabulous. And what's fun is when you see. There'll be stretches of mountains where you get the bright oranges and reds and yellows of the turning trees, and then swaths of green as you get spruce and pine that's mixed with it. Nature rocks, y'all. It really does. And it doesn't matter the time of year. So there are some said winter here. I'm not a skier, okay? I'm not. I would love to in theory, I would love to snowboard, okay? The reality is I don't want to. Would it be kind of fun sliding down the hill? Sure. I don't want to spend the hours to drive up to the mountain. I don't want to spend the money on the lift tickets. And, you know, sliding down the hill is cool, I guess. But, you know, I just don't want to put up with the rest of the hassle to deal with it, which is fine, I suppose. But I live near two of the best ski resorts in Colorado, apparently. So, you know, what am I going to do? Or at least two of the better ones, you know. But I'm not up north near Vail and stuff. So, yeah, Breckenridge. But those are all touristy. So, you know, who knows? Anyway, anyway. But yeah, there's some beautiful stuff any time of year. And really, I should get out more, okay? Especially when it starts to warm up. There's a spot in Colorado. It's the Great Sand Dunes National Park, which is, it's actually amazing any time of year because here, right in a mountain valley, there are these 1,000-foot sand dunes, multiple 1,000-foot sand dunes. It's insane, which given the winds that blow through the San Luis Valley, you can understand why there's piles of sand here against the mountains. But this is one of those areas that I've been to a number of times at different times of year, okay? In the winter, it's still beautiful, it's just cold. In the spring, there's a creek that flows around the southern end of the sand dunes. And it's fueled, I suppose, by spring runoff. So you get all the water, everything, the snow is melting off the mountains, running down, it runs along the base of the dunes. And this is the weirdest creek I have ever seen, okay? Because as it comes across the sand, it ripples, okay? There are actually pulses and waves as the water flows across the dunes. It is the coolest thing to see. And this river is never more than a creek, I guess they call it. It's rarely more than a couple of inches deep. But it is so cool to see as it's rippling across the dunes. One of the roads that goes north up to the sand dunes, there's a sign for Zapata Falls, which is on, I think it's on BLM land, actually. It's not in the national park, it's separate. But it's like a half-mile trail, and you go up, you follow this river, and you end up at, it's basically a cleft in the rock and almost a cave, okay? Because you get these two mountains that come together, and they don't quite, they sort of arch over the river, but they don't quite meet, so it's not a cave necessarily, but it's really close. And if you hike up the river, it's the only way to get through it, because the whole cave is filled with water. I mean, not filled with water, but the whole floor of the cave is this river. If you hike up the river, you can see where this waterfall comes down through the cleft between the rocks, and then comes down to form it. It's amazing. Okay, now there are some times of the year it sucks because there are 18 trillion mosquitoes, okay? All the mosquitoes, they come to vacation here, I think, is how this works. You see them with their little suitcases and the beach balls, okay? It's not the time of year to be there. But, in the spring, it's great because, the water's flowing and it's great. But the water, it's all snow runoff, so it's icy cold, all right? And then later in the summer, when it's less snow runoff, it's a little bit warmer. It's easier to get up there. The river's not quite as high. We used to go up once in a while when I was a kid. We go up into Rocky Mountain National Park, which was, it's up north outside of Denver. And I say it's outside of Denver. Denver's not exactly as close to the mountains as it looks, okay? But you go up into Rocky Mountain National Park, and the same thing, doesn't matter the time of year. You go up in the fall, and you can see all of the leaves changing, and that's a special breed of amazing, right? But you go up in the summer, everything is bright and beautiful and amazing. I was at a conference, and it was held up at a place up in near Florissant, okay, here in Colorado. And I went out for a walk before everything started, because I'm an early riser, okay? There's a reason I record these podcasts at 6 o'clock in the morning, because that's when I'm awake. But, I woke up early. Breakfast wasn't for a couple of hours, so the sun was rising. It was a beautiful spring morning, and I decided, okay, this is good. I need to go for a walk and get some steps in. And I have never before seen the air green. Like, seriously, everything had this golden green hue to it because the sun was shining through all the aspens up there. And it just everywhere had this green color to it. It was amazing. It was so beautiful to go walk through this forest. And it was nice because they have this trail And it's not long. It's depending on how much of it you decide to hike, and it goes in a circle around the area. But I hiked that trail, got back, for breakfast, and then got to dive into all of the stuff was there for the conference for. But holy smokes, was it pretty. I consider myself an avid indoorsman, okay? I like being inside, okay? That's where all my stuff is, right? All the stuff I like to do, right? Computers and movies and books and stuff, that's all inside, okay? Gone are the days when I'm out playing sports, okay? My body can't take it anymore, okay? My ankles gave up on that a decade ago, all right? My knees are not there anymore, okay? As I'm slowly approaching 50, yeah, I mean, I can walk without problems. It's just all the athletic stuff is just, a lot of that's passed me by these days. I'm almost afraid to go back and try to play racquetball again. I mean, that was fun. My wife and I used to play racquetball. It was great. But, you could step out just about any time of year and find something amazing. The problem with winter is, of course, all the plants are dormant. So it's, well, at least in Colorado, it's a lot of brown. I don't know wherever you're at, there's probably something. But there are definitely days. So when you get that snowfall, everything is peaceful. I mean, there have been days where it's been almost warm enough to want to be outside for a couple of minutes. Almost. But you step outside for a few minutes and almost want to just sit and listen to the snow, right? Or sometimes you just curl up in front of a window and just wrapped up in a warm blanket with a cup of hot chocolate, just watching the snowfall, right? It's really amazing sometimes. And yeah, the other, 87,000 days of winter, it's, yeah, the rest of the time, okay, yeah, winter is something to be endured. On the other hand, if you're living down in the deep south here in the US or Arizona, right, where summers are unbearable, it's the same thing. Summer is something you endure. Yes, it's pretty, but it's also pretty hot. And, I used to say I would prefer being cold to hot because you can always put on layers, and that's definitely true. When you get hot, there are only so many layers you can take off before they ask you to leave the restaurant, okay? And I'm sorry, you're going to have to go speak to HR. Oh, no. I'm just hot. But, yeah, there are definitely days where it's like, yeah, air conditioning would be nice. I would like to have some of that. But, yeah, so summer is, okay, leave your air-conditioned house, get into your hopefully air-conditioned car so you can get to your air-conditioned office or store or wherever. But let's not be outside for any length of time, right? I had to laugh once. My wife and I had just gotten married, okay? And we had decided to fly out to visit my mom just after. So we were married in June. We flew out to my mom's in July. Actually, it was 4th of July weekend, okay? This was 96. So we flew into Atlanta, and that was actually kind of cool because the Olympics were gearing up. They were starting in a couple of weeks. And, we're sitting there in the airport. I think we were only there for a week. So when we got there, didn't see as much, but as we were leaving, we're sitting there at a McDonald's or something at the airport and watching Olympic teams walk by, right? As they had landed in the airport there in Atlanta. Oh, look, there goes France or, whatever. It was the summer games where there are a lot more countries participate in the summer games than in the winter games. So we were seeing all of these teams, wandering around and all that stuff. It was fabulous. Okay. But it was hot. And this was the first time my wife had ever been east of the Mississippi. And she had never experienced humidity like this before. And I had to laugh a little bit. So we we landed in Houston. We had to change planes. We landed in Houston. We get off, we're going down the jetway, and she's like, "Ugh, it's humid." And it was definitely humid. It's like, this kind of sucks. But we're still kind of sort of air conditioned because it was the jetway and all that stuff. But I'm just chuckling a little bit because I know what's coming next. So we changed planes, we land in Atlanta, and it is everything you would want from Hotlanta. Okay, it is hot and it is muggy and it's like breathing through a hot wet towel. And my poor wife, who was pregnant, it's like she's just immediately wilts. It was. I was admittedly laughing at her misfortune. She kind of was too. It's like, how do people live like this? It's like, yeah, they live with air conditioning. That's how they live like this. But it's even then there's some great things, right? I remember out visiting my mom out in the Carolinas, and it was some of the summer. It was hot. It was horrible. But I went with my sister's church youth group to go water skiing. It's like, great, water skiing is awesome. I guess I've never been, so hey, there's a chance. And there was a tropical storm that day. Now, where they were, all it was basically was just rain. It wasn't even crazy, okay? But it was so nice because the temperature dropped 20 degrees and there was a breeze, and we're going to be wet anyway because we're water skiing. And yeah, it was wonderful. Right? It's the best weather when we were there. Yeah. And that's the other fun thing. When you start looking at seasons and weather, and so I live in Colorado. If it rains, you don't go out in the rain because it's cold. The rain is just always cold. The first time I was out in South Carolina for a rainstorm, and it was like taking a shower, right? Because one, it rained a little heavier, and two, it was warm. The water was warm. The rain was warm. It was like, yes, I could be out in this. This isn't, other than being wet, which, is not my favorite way to be. It was fine, right? Said you go out in the rain in Colorado and you freeze to death because even in the summer, it's nice. Sometimes it'll cool you off, I suppose, but the rain is just always cold. It is so amazing. And I just love seeing what changes, as the seasons change, as the weather changes. Yes, I miss the warmth of summer and even fall, but I still like to enjoy the fact that, hey, it's snowing and it's peaceful. I can't breathe because my allergies are so bad, but dang it, spring is pretty. With the trees all blossom and everything's, yeah, oh, that's nice, right? Yeah, fall, we're starting to miss the heat of the summer, or not miss the heat of the summer in my case. And said everything smells spicy. And of course, I usually start sneezing again because it's fall and the farmers around here start plowing their fields. And right, that's not fabulous, but it's so much fun. And I think about all of this sometimes, and it's easy for me to just want to sit and complain about my allergies. And I do. I try not to be a complainer. There's no situation so bad that complaining about it won't make it worse. But there are times, man, I'm just going to sit and whine and complain about the fact that I can't breathe and my eyes are burning. Right? It's just human nature, I suppose. But I can't let that stop me from enjoying the new blooming flowers and the blossoming trees. And The fact that I don't have to wear a coat when I walk to work in the morning. I'll tell you, spring is worse for me walking to work sometimes because it's still freezing, right? It's like at freezing, 32 Fahrenheit, 0 Celsius, right? So I still need a coat or a jacket or something to walk to work. But then the rest of the day, it's 75 and it's warm and it's amazing. It's like, why do I have this coat? Right? So, walking home for lunch is fine, but now I have to bring the coat home with me. It's like, all right, well, this is bulky. Right? So, I'm a whiner some days, I admit it. I try not to be, but I am. And I don't like the heat so much in the summer, but man, I'm getting to a point where maybe I'm kind of okay with the heats up to a point. If I had air conditioning, I'd be more okay with the heat, I'll tell you. But it's worth taking time, even for an avid indoorsman like me. It's nice to take time and enjoy the beauty and the differences. Appreciate the differences between the seasons, because they're amazing. They really are. And I would get tired of rain, right? It's one of the reasons I don't like being up in the Pacific Northwest. Those few times I've been is, it tends to be cloudy, and that tends to get me down. Okay. Though, when I took my son to college up in Washington, it was bright and sunny and beautiful. So, there's that too. But it is nice to be able to get out and enjoy nature. Okay. I could do a whole other podcast about, being up in the mountains and all that stuff, I'm sure, but just enjoy the different seasons, the different times of year, the differences. It's definitely worth doing. And that is definitely worth doing. And I love fall. Fall is probably my favorite season because it's just, everything smells spicy and it's amazing. It's like, yep, I need to get some fresh roasted chilies to put into some enchiladas. That would be amazing. Or we'll just buy some fresh chilies and can up some salsa. Ooh, so tasty. So anyway, let me know do you have a favorite season? What do you like about any of the seasons? Let me know. Drop a comment. I would love to hear about it. And while you're down there dropping that comment, like, subscribe, you know the drill. And until next time, be excellent to each other. And this is Music Free Static signing off.